But here's Nano's reaction on 4/26/25 to finding out about my message to Silver and the image of how it was portrayed in Silver's document. Nano would have known exactly what happened with Silver's model. My statement on Sinder and redacted. And Nanoless, I guess, said, I literally can't believe this, and she posted a screenshot. I didn't think much of it at the time, but Sinder messaged me on Discord right before my model was cancelled. She celebrated that we shared art, despite the fact that at the same time, she and Redacted were actively working to take the potential for more away. And it's that screenshot that was the... Wait, she showed that screenshot earlier. In this bit, Sinder claims that this message actually came 2 days before Nano cancelled the models. Alright, so on 11/19/2023, Nano told Red that Geary approached her about a model. I chose to leave her name uncensored here since I had mentioned her in my apology after finding out about it. And I was never even aware Nano was ever planning to work on a model for any of my friends, Geary. Nanoless says, also Geary contacted me for a possible model. She's browsing artists, so it's not confirmed yet. Redacted responds, like in a past day. And Nanoless says, yesterday. Says, ain't no way. She's gonna want you for sure. Hold on, it's not like this. Not yet. Oh, another project I was talking about was maybe a big art piece for Webcon in March. Red talked about another project with Nano between these screenshots. Would it be evil to pay you a model price to not work on a Silver model? I'm only half kidding. Nanoless responds a bit, but... Then Redacted says, Nano house fund, business expense. It feels kind of bad to rely on Sinder for that though. Red says, I don't think we'll run out of work for you. Like there's always just general artwork too. Silver can get a model from someone else. She has connections. You're right. She can get a model from someone else. She has connection is a funny line. You're right. This is business worlds. Red says, I was half kidding when I told Nano about paying for her to not work with Silver on a model because she had just cancelled her model 2 days earlier. Nano then said I was right. This is business world in reference to what I said about paying her to not work with Silver, which is the exact opposite to what mine and Cinder's later comments about business meant. I was only half kidding it reminds me of like the Aster. It was a joke. It was a half joke. Well, it was half true. Yeah, haha, just JK, unless... Anyway, unrelated conversation continues again between these screenshots, so they removed them. Well, let's see if Geary wants a Nano model or not, and hope Silver finds someone else. XD evil. The next 7Ks kinda want to save for a redacted name, Rigging Dough. My house can wait. Which model are you gonna do next? He asked. And then Red says here in the commentary, my reaction towards Geary inquiring about a model had nothing to do with Geary at all. And I've never had anything against her. It was about more and more people wanting Nano's models in general, not anyone in particular. And this was right after Nano had just removed 2 models from her schedule. I never told Sinder about Geary because it never went anywhere and there was no reason to. I hoped Silver would find someone else to do her model so she wouldn't come back to Nano for one. Unlike Sinder, by this point in time, I had already basically written off Silvervale because of the undeserved way she treated her. Jumping ahead again, screenshot-wise. Then Nanoless here says, by the way, since you got plans, do you think it would be best for me to have Bao's model done sooner or around June is okay? Red responds, I really don't know at the moment. We're working on the winter model now and finishing the gamer sub art, when the next thing might be the webcon thing if we get the okay for it. Then we gotta talk to GamerSup about Cinder's next product launch, so there's no plans for that right now. Then Cinder did want to do a 2.0 pirate/bikini model for the summer, so I don't know when that'd be the best to start, so it can be done to rig in time, and 2.0 models updates. And then the game project, which is still in the idea phase, so I can't give you any work for that right now. And there's always just more artwork for stream, for posting spicy art, or maybe spicy comics. So she says maybe having it done sooner or whatever happens later, I'll be open for it. Nano asked me when she should have Bao's model done. Nowhere do I say she should cancel it. Nano suggested she may get it done sooner than June. Well, I think she's trying to plan like her workload. I'm not sure what he's angling for here. Redacted here says, true, we could start the 2.0 update pirate design after the winter model is done. And that can be off stream, and if we can do the webcon art, that'll be on stream, and also just finishing the flavor art when the drink is finished. She says, I still got the changes in mind, so don't worry. I don't know if you saw it, but we were talking about adding butt fangs to the winter model and having the sweater flip up when Cinder moves, like redacted name new models have been. Nano says, oopsie, how did that happen? Gotta make the coochie yummy looking like Redacted, lol. Oh, I forgot. We can also work on a base 2.0 model updates after the winter one is done, like the updated Booba, Power Pup, etc. So every outfit going forward can have the new stuff. Nano says, of course, let me know all changes, and if there's a deadline for it, I'll be quite busy until mid-December because of the current project. It's already started. After that, I'll be pretty open. Let's go. Nano on Team Cinders. By the way, even I'm dedicated Cinder slave, I'll need to make Patreon content too. And he says that's fine with us. We still want you to do your thing and art. The world would be a dark place without nano art. And if we calm you for a normal art, you can use the not safe for work version of that for Patreon too. She says this would mean the world to me. He says we are nano believers. Also, I'm working with YouTubers for nano mono. I'm so excited. Nano refers to herself as a dedicated Cinder slave after our conversation, which isn't something I ever implied she'd be, or that I wanted her to only work with us. On 11/20/2023, Sinder writes, someone I worked with asked me about how it was working with Nano since one of their friends was commissioning her for a model. A few days after their message, I responded, praising Nano. Hi Cinder, I have a question for you. I'm a good friend with the voice actor for Bardat anime, and she is about to commission Nanoless for a VTuber model. Since this is their first time working together, Nanoless recommended they reach out to you to get an idea on what it's like to work with them. Overall, what was working with Nanoless like for you? And she says, sorry I missed this. I've been working with Nano since she first started making models, and she's the sweetest. She's so nice to work with. So I think this is to showcase that she's not like trying to shut down other people's model maybe. So here 11/23/2023 read message Nano about me and one of my model sisters. We didn't have a problem with sharing Nano as a model mama with anyone, and I've always supported them. Your daughters really are related. This is my favorite artist at Nanoless. I don't know if you know her, but I love her. And Buff Buff says my favorite artist Nanoless. I don't know if you've heard of them, but they're pretty dope. And Nano says these two. Cinder writes, Nano voiced her concerns to Red about their previous conversation where she got the impression Red wanted her to only make models for me, and the confusion around it is cleared up between them. The situation shows that Nano was capable of putting her foot down and making situations for herself despite any accused manipulation. So this is a screenshot between Nano and Red, and Nano says, I didn't yet because Redacted said they could get one for me. By the way, we need to talk later. And he says, oh, what's up later? It's about, she says, so it's about working with Cinder. My friends told me it's a bit unfair for me to stop other models so I do more for Cinder, which I agree with them. I'm a free artist and I should do whatever I want to do. I don't want to take sides on any drama or situation. I still will always have a way to have open slots for Cinder, but I won't be having her as my only customer. Red responds, I agree, you're a free artist and you should do what you want, but I was under the impression that taking on more Cinder work is what you wanted to do. I didn't think it was like we were making you do that. Then she responds, I guess we gotta misunderstand on both sides. It's more about this. And then she's like replying to something he said, where he says, not to discredit any of your work because everything you work for is top of the line, incredible, but when everyone's a nano baby, it feels less special to be one, if that make any sense. And I've kind of been getting the same feeling from Gamersup. And Redacted responds, oh, I see. I mean, what I said is still true about how we feel, but I wasn't saying you had to only do Cinder work from now on. That's with anything though, not just your work. If you have something special and then everybody wants it and gets that thing, it makes it less special. I'm sorry you were under the impression we were trying to make you only do work for us. I will keep things more business talk and less emotional, lol. Just let me know how this will affect your schedule so I can tell Cinder after. Sorry for the stress, Nano. Alright, so Nano says, but every single model I do is unique and I make them special in their way. It's not like I'm selling Cinder to everyone. Please don't feel this way. Now I know you pour your heart and soul into your models and they're all incredible. I'm sorry I made you both feel this way too, she says. So Red here is commenting a wall of text. I was confused because I never told Nano she should only be working with Cinder from now on, and I didn't ask her to cancel anything either. I stated I thought that the more she made, the less special they were, and talked about Cinder's plans. Then she cancelled 2 models. I thought it was because she wanted to do more with us. To be fair to Nano, I didn't explain my point of view about her models at all, but I didn't bring it up to somehow manipulate her. It came down to a conflict of interest from my client perspective and her artist perspective. First of all, this way of thinking about the value of Nano's model was my thought process, and Sinder understood and went along with it. Not everyone will feel or see the way I did here, and that's okay, because I don't think this is a right or wrong issue. It just comes down to what each person value as a VTuber artist or viewer. This shows just how much we admire Nano and her work, that we're putting her on a pedestal. This has nothing to do with the idea that other people with her models would be Sinder clones, or that her work was less incredible because there was more of it. To me, it's a matter of supply and demand. Just like, okay, but that directly contradicts your last line, though. You just said, this has nothing to do with the idea that other people with her models would be Sinder clones, and then this part, or that her work was less incredible because there was more of it. And then in the next line, you say, to me, it's a matter of supply and demand. So, what that means is that the work gets devalued if there's more in circulation. That's literally what it means. Just like a rare trading card game, the more models Nano made and the more often she would, the less valuable they'd become for the people who have them. Nano's models are all of incredible quality, extremely unique, and highly sought after, but they'd each individually be less special or valuable if there were 100 of them rather than only 10. From a VTuber's perspective, your visual identity is extremely important. A model isn't just any other asset. Your design, your model, and its art style are all a huge part of what makes them who they are and how they are represented and recognized. It's an extension of yourself. The fewer VTubers with their model's art style, the more unique it is to have it. They stand out more and it becomes more personal. I definitely feature of and to that VTuber represent that artist. We all know at least one VTuber who has the only model from a certain artist or one of a handful of models from them. The more models that artists make and the easier it is to get one will inherently lessen the perceived value of the VTubers' visual identities who have those models. I only thought this was way over models because of the role and importance they play for a VTuber and the importance Nano's art was to our brand. It was never about who was asking Nano for a model, just that more and more people were. Well, in some case it was about who was asking Nano for a model. Let's be real about this. Like Spite, Silverveil, these two were blacklisted for show. More new model clients meant more recurring model clients, meaning less time for anything we wanted to do with Nano. That part I understand, which is why we considered an exclusivity deal in January 2025. My priorities have always been our plans and our schedule. Everything a VTuber does revolves around new model debuts, merch, music events, and more are all planned around a new model or outfit as a centerpiece. That's why I always ask Nano about her schedule and where she could fit in our plans at the consistent place we've always. That way we could keep up with the pressure to always do bigger and better things all around new models. I mean, the dude is pretty business savvy, and this mentality would work maybe in a like corporate setting where it's a little bit more cutthroat. I don't know if this is like, I haven't really met anybody that operated like this in the VTuber scene. And I suppose Sinder's success is probably in part attributed to Red's like business dealing. But at the same time, I have to wonder, like, because yes, she was successful, but at the same time, somebody else like Iron Mouse is also super successful. And I don't think she operates like this. Like, I would be really surprised and shocked to find out that she operates like this behind the scene. You know what I mean? So at the same time, a lot of people that don't do that do perfectly fine, and I think that's more acceptable in the community we're in. On the other hand, Red says, as you'll read, I could also completely sympathize with Nano's perspective as an artist. In an artist's view, they want their art to be everywhere and seen by as many people as possible, and have more and more people appreciate their craft, hard work, and the love they put into what they do. More artwork for more clients means more of their work will be seen by more people, leading to more new clients and more new opportunities to sustain themselves financially. New ideas and new concepts that come in keep work exciting and prevent creatively burning out from doing the same thing over and over again with the same older clients. When Nano told me how she felt, I was 100% on board with that. She was saying I had no reason to argue against her. Even if my priority has always been Sinder's projects, I also cared about and prioritized Nano as my friend and what she wanted to do for herself. I apologized to Nano for the confusion and accepted her decision without any pushback. When I said business is business in these messages, it was referring to the fact that Nano made a business decision that was best for her, even if it wasn't necessarily what I wanted, and I respected it. I didn't hold it against her and worked around it with her. It's okay, Nano, you're just making a living and making a name for yourself, and I can't blame you for accepting work from another big name in the industry and having very desirable talent. If you end up filling your model schedule again like it was, let me know. We'll have to replan some things depending on that. She responds, thank you for understanding my side. We're all trying to have our name somewhere. Just don't take this personal or anything. I still love working with you guys, and again, apologize for the trouble on your plans. I'll still revisit my list and see what I got. He says, business is business. Oh, he said the thing. The meme line. If you want to go through the project we talked about, let me know which ones you'd want to do too. She says, oh, I'll just wait to hear from you about your model list and what you want to work on before we set anything in stone. Nanoless says, of course I'll be away today, so I'll give an update later. Redacted says, is this about Silver's model, Nano? She says, yes, I want to take it, but I don't want to disrespect Sinder. I just want to do pretty models. No hurt feelings. And then he said again, business is business. And then he says, I never asked her to not to or to cancel her model, but if she wanted to work with Silver, then there was nothing I was going to say to stop her. It was her business decision, and I respected it, just like I always had. Business is business. Okay. I mean, again, he's kind of just like rehashing what's in the screenshot, but again, like, I mean, maybe I'm repeating myself, but he says, I didn't ask her to do it, but you kind of set it up that so she would come to that conclusion and she'd be worried about taking Silver's model, evidently from these screenshots. Sinder adds here, in Red's message at the bottom, he was joking. Of course, I was okay with Nano's decision, and my conversation with Nano about this is below. And about the business is business comment, I mean, with his explanation, I mean, it's kind of a meme sentence, but I'm not too mad at him for it. Like, I think it's fine. And I think I'm willing to believe his explanation for it. Oh, yeah, maybe it's every time he says business, then I take a drink. Oh, no, I'd be way too wasted. Actually, we cannot do that drinking game, guys. Okay, business is business. She's crying emote. Now he says, Nano, you're a freelance artist and Silver is a long-time client, so it makes sense to continue doing work for her. I understand the logistics of it. At the end of the day, you need to do what's best for you. She says, I really appreciate for understanding my side. I do understand your side too, but sadly it's sometimes between you two. It's something between you two, not me, and I shouldn't get involved in this fight. I just go art brr. Right, I know. I just didn't think our other conversation sounded like I was trying to make you not work with her on a model, like Silver specifically. Maybe I just considered the situation too much, she says. My mistake for thinking this way. It's okay. But, dude, this is... Okay, I'm gonna refrain from commenting. There's so much gaslighted here. But are we good for real? This feels like a weird breakup. I'm stressing. Me and you are good, but I still have to tell all this to Sinder. It'll be fine. I think there's a weird implication here that, like, Sinder might not be fine with it, though. Like, me and you are good, but I'm still gonna have to break this, to the boss. But we're good, though. Anyway, Red adds here, just like before, I told Nano she needs to do what's best for her. I didn't say anything about Silver in our conversation where Nano canceled her model. And he adds, it'll be fine. Don't worry. I think she's still sleeping. She says, oh God, it will be her first news. He says, I'll let you know when I talk to her, don't worry. Please have mercy. I will go over a list of things we talked about with her, and we'll write them out for you, and we can find time for things. Nano's like, nod. He says, if you do/don't still want to do the pirate outfit, we might not start any model projects until 3.0. And that's not the only thing we had in mind, like we were talking about. She responds, I might be able to, considering I'll only take Silver back. Red says, oh, I thought you were going to take everyone back. And she says, I still need to talk to them. Red quotes Nano here, saying, I might be able to, considering I'll only take Silver back. Again, I did not say anything about Cotton, but Nano canceled her model anyway and never took it back. She says, I still need to talk to them. Red says, did you end up doing the Geary model? And she says, oh, not yet. She was just browsing. He says, no worries. Business is business. I'm glad we didn't do that drinking game. I'll message you when I talk to Sinder. She says, let her have breakfast at least. Thanks for getting this out of the way now, Nano, instead of waiting a while, lol. Nano says, I try to be transparent as much as possible. I think it's fair for both sides this way. Red says, you didn't tell Silver you canceled because of Sinder, did you? No, I told all of them it was health issues. Once again, saying business is business here is me telling Nano that no matter what her decision on Giri's model was, I would accept whatever outcome she chose. I didn't want to affect her decision about it, and Giri never came up between us again. I asked Nano if she told Silver she canceled her model because of Sinder, because before this, Nano was under the impression I asked her to only work with us, when I didn't. She canceled Silver model at the end of that same conversation. I didn't know what she might have told Silver, but Cinder had nothing to do with it. She says, I would never blame anyone else besides Mio. He says, lol, we never wanted to make you feel like we're making you or forcing you to not work on something, especially if it's something you want to / don't want to. And our conversation the other day wasn't meant to convince you of only doing Cinder work. Again, sorry that it sounded to you like I was telling you to only do Cinder work. I'll message you later. It's okay, we settled things up. I apologize to Nano for all of this again, and both her and I were satisfied. And then Cinder is talking in the next section, and she's going to show some of her own DMs. Here are my own DMs with Nano about what happened. When I say it's just business, Red told me about this conversation with Nano before she messaged me, and my use of the phrase had the same meaning as his since Nano just heard it from him. In my apology, I said, me saying it's just business was referring to my acceptance of Nano's business decision. Whether she chose to work with me or not, this was not in reference to anyone's model being cancelled. Further explanation to her that it's okay if she chose not to work with me. I can understand where the next part can sound manipulative. But my intention was to reminisce about the journey we had together up to this point, since at this time, I wasn't sure if this is where Nano and I would stop working together as frequently as we had been, and I'd have to look for a new model artist. I then encourage her to work on projects she's excited about while I talk with Fred to find a project that would work with her schedule. I need to drink some water. Nano says, hey Cinder, hope you're doing okay. I talked with Fred, and I believe he talked to you already, and I thought it would be best if I just checked here personally. Actually, I wanted to know better your thoughts because Red tried to talk to me, and I think I misunderstood things. She says, Cinder responds, I'm doing good, what's up, Nano? And then Nano says, oh, it's mostly about this, not to discredit any of your work, because everything your work is top of the line incredible, but when everyone's a Nano baby, it feels less special to be one, if that makes sense. Kind of been getting the same feeling about Gamers Up lately too. So she says, I thought on canceling some models because of it, but then I realized it's not really fair to me. I understand what he means, but at the end of the day, it's just business. Of course, we love working with you and want to keep working together, but if you prefer to work with other clients instead of me, I know it's for a reason. And for you to help grow and not because you don't like me. Being one of your very first model babies was amazing. I was happy to be able to find someone to help you with LTD cutting to improve your skills, and I think that's a big part of why everyone loved the 1.0 model and then started asking you for them. I can have Red send you a list of our plans for the future and estimated due dates, so just let us know what you actually want to work on. That way I have time to look for someone else if you don't have time for my projects or don't want to do them. It feels special to only have your model art for all of my outfits, but just let me know if you don't have time for me to be an exclusive Nano art or baby anymore. Nano says, it's no personal reason, I would never do something like this to you or anyone, but yeah, it's important for my job to reach far, and I like working on different projects and people. I never ever said I don't want to work with you anymore. I told Red that even though I have my other works, will always have a way to get you a priority spot when possible. You will always be my special baby. I also think it's important for you to work on projects that you're excited about, so I'll go through my plans with Fred and send you ideas to see if it's possible with your schedule. I know he can be a little pushy sometimes, but it's because he's just doing business for me to grow, and he absolutely loves your work just as much as I do. She says, it's okay, I will update you guys ASAP. Sounds good to me. I understand what Red's reasoning was in the screenshot Nano sent, but no matter what she chose to do, it was just business. Stop saying it, please. She says, it has been completely ignored my apology. It was deceptively misinterpreted and turned into a meme. Let me explain again what I meant by it's just business when I used the phrase myself. If Nano had okay, if you have to constantly like over explain your words, then maybe you're just not using the right words ever. Like, it's kind of like worrying to me. Or cancel any planned or future work with me for any reason she would give me, whether due to other clients, burnout, or any other reason, then it was just business. Both Fred and I had repeatedly reassured Nano over the years that there was nothing she could say or do to make us choose to stop working with her, and nothing about our work together would ever make me rethink the friendship I had with her. Our feelings did not dictate Nano's business and commission decisions. We always made accommodation for her to be able to work with us when she could, and she was always willing and excited to do things with us. If she had come to us herself saying she didn't want to work with us ever again, then that was just business. Neither of our comments were made trying to convince her to sabotage or cancel any projects for anyone else using business to justify it. It's just business was used in this conversation about this situation alone to tell Nano we accepted what she wanted to do. I don't remember using the phrase anywhere else again, but it has been turned into this catchphrase I've allegedly had all along to sabotage people. Yeah, but it's not gonna be reverted back. Like, that, such is the nature of the internet. Unfortunately, it's it's on the status of I've made a continuous lapse of judgment. I love that one too. If you were to present my conversation with Nano first, without any context of Red's discussion with her happening just before this, it could look like I was directly responding to Nano's message about canceling other people's model as just business. This is how it was presented in Nano's document. You'd also have to ignore everything else I said in that same message to Nano and everything else from this same conversation that reference what Red had told Nano the day before. When you have the full context of this situation in the order it happened, my "it's just business" comment means something completely different than what it was deceptively portrayed as to the public. Yes, but I think that all hinges on whether or not you believe Red's description and analysis of his just business quote in the first place, because they claim that they're using it in the same way. So, I mean, nobody's in their head, so obviously nobody can categorically disprove that or tell them that, like, no, that's totally not how you meant it. But it's more like it's also not something I feel like they can categorically prove. So that part will be up to public interpretation and how each individual, I think, views this. For 11/27/2023, Nano told Red she was going to take Silver's model back. 2 days later, she told him that Silver might have found another artist and was waiting for confirmation. Nano had plenty of time to tell Silver she'd take back her model if she wanted to, but never did. Nano and Silver blamed us for her model being cancelled. Nano says, oh, actually, Silver might have found another artist, just waiting for a confirmation. So far, I have only December full, but normal illustrations can be added. Redacted says, I don't know, emote. Also, if you guys want to schedule your sub before I get a new comm, just let me know. Nano told Red she wouldn't be taking any comms until February for a break. Red asked her when she'd be able to start my winter outfit starting screen art, and she told him mid-January. You can't prove how Nano took it either. Yeah, exactly. It's also a question of perception. Nanoless here is writing to Redacted, and she opens with, Red, I won't be able to take any comms until February. I'm taking December comms to January so I can have some rest. I'm sorry for the inconvenience. He says, okay, thank you, Nano. So this is in December. Then he says, do you know when, if you were to do it, you'd be available for winter starting art piece? And are you interested in doing the pirate/bikini outfit in the spring? And when needed, will you be able to finish the flavor art for us? And Nano responds, I can have winter art start mid-Jan, and I would love to do the pirate fit. For flavor, I'm only waiting for the color. Now, on February 16, 2024, Red told Nano that one of my future model sisters showed me her model Nano was working on. So Cinder's future model sister showed Sinder her model that Nano was working on. We were on an IRL trip in February 2024 when this new sister first told Red and I that they were working with her. We were both excited for them and expressed how wonderful it was to work with Nano. Redacted says, bar that name, and bar that name showed Cinder how her model is coming. From what I heard, it looks really good. Oh, I love them so much I got hyped when Redacted contacted me. She says they're super nice. And then in February 17, 2024, Red moving projects around to accommodate Nano. We preferred all of my model artwork to be done by her. So she says, Red, I have bad news. I don't think I can make what? PPs? What the fuck is this? I don't think I can make PPs for March, but I can recommend people to make them. He says, what about April? She says, April is 100% doable. Okay, we can do that in case you want them early. We got the same people who made silvers. If we do the 2.0 art updates in April while redacted name, she should be able to do them in May, probably. I think it's okay to wait until we gotta wait until redacted is ready anyways. She says, oh, sounds good. PPs are the biggest addition, so I'm pretty sure we're good. So we gotta wait on the Pirate 2, like the design. She says it's February, hopefully. After that, it'll be much less busy. Dude, after this, I'm sitting down and I'm finishing my model in calm inspiration. I'm writing to my VTuber model. I'm stressing out reading all of this. Okay, Red says, okay, just let me know when your schedule will be free ASAP. She says, sorry for the inconvenience, Red. It is what it is. We just prefer you do all the model artwork. So if we have to get someone else to do the pirate design, let me know. Then Nano says, only if you need the design before April. He says, I guess we don't since it'd be you and redacted name doing the model again. These are messages between Sinder and Nano showing I was happy for her about projects she was working on. Hi Nano, I really can't thank you enough for working on my special gamer sub card. I started crying when I saw the full finished art. You always make the most beautiful things, and thank you for dealing with Fred. I'm sorry things have been so crazy for me lately. I love you with my whole heart. Just thank you for the opportunity. Always a pleasure to work with you and your projects. You're such a busy bean. Cinder says you've been working on so many cool projects lately too. I'm so happy for you. This art's gonna be my new PFP when it's public. It's too cute. I've been working on so many cool projects lately too. I'm so happy for you. This art gonna be my new PFP when it's public. Hey, too cute. And then Nano says, I'm so happy you like it. And Cinder says, I also hope you move was okay. I know that's gonna be so much work. We didn't move yet. Got a bit delayed. Every day's a good day to mold. Oh no, I hope you can start moving soon. I know how long you've been wanting this. Sending good vibes to you always. Nano says, hopefully still this month. I don't know, I'm kind of happy we're delaying the moving because it's so stressing, but I also want to move. I wish I could just leave all behind. Cinder says, I wish I could start fresh on all my work too. I feel that, one step at a time. Nano told Red she was feeling burnt out, and he said would delay my next model for her when she was ready for it. We wanted Nano to be the one who made all of my major models and outfits. We had no problem waiting for her like we had in the past. Red, do you think you can get someone else to make the Angel Cinder? She says, what? Why? What happened? I have a small burnout feeling. At this point, we're in 2024, by the way. Redacted says, I mean, we wouldn't get someone else to do it. We'd just delay it, but I don't know. We want you to be comfortable. She says, no, I'll make it happen then. I'll make it then. Nano, we can't worry about the Angel later when we have a better time frame for it, so start over the next couple months. Are you still able to do the 2.0 updates and bikini outfit? And she says, oh no, I'm positive I'm fine for summer stuff. Since there's not much going on in the arms, it won't be difficult to make the toggles. By the way, I still can't thank you enough for keeping me as Cinder's artist. In 6/3/2024, Red asked Nano about a merch artwork commission, giving her the opportunity before anyone else. Nano, how busy are you with comms right now? Quite a bit, she says. He says, okay, never mind. It was for a gamer sub standee. Our first two artists couldn't do it, but I got another to ask. Okay, what's the deadline though? He says ASAP, no deadline. I'm kind of scared to charge for this kind of comm again. If it's nothing too complicated, I can try. In case you already asked the other artist, I'm fine waiting for its reply. He says, I told the other artist I was waiting for the other artist, you, to reply. When I sent you this, I brought up a possible project to the other artist, but waiting for the first artist to reply. That was you, and then you replied, and now we're talking anyway. And they're both blushing. He said, first artist, and it me. And he says, yeah, it's you. It's always you. But first artist is always busy. She says, I always get a way to have it done, usually. And he says, yeah, okay, anyway. But this is the standee pose, more or less. But the tail's going to be like this. And it's going to be double-sided. One side is 2.0, the other side demon. Is the tail gonna wag? He says, yeah. He says, now, Nano, I don't want you to take this on if it's gonna delay the bikini outfit. But if not, then if you think you can do it, it's gotta be done ASAP. No set deadline, but still ASAP. Otherwise, I have another artist in mind, so it's okay. She says, ooh. And he says, it's okay to say no it's this time. And she says, I might have to say no then. And he says, and I need a quote to give GG first. Okay, no worries. And she says, for the sake of bikini. And Red says, for the bikini. Who's that? Take you, Nano. I'll be back if the other artist says no. She says, no problem. I'm still happy for being asked. Okay. Just a reminder that Redacted is available to start the bikini in the second half of June. And she says, give me a toggle list. What? Okay, fine, wise guy. I'll do that today too. Mr. Toggle List. Nanoless says, okay, stop. This sticker scares me. Oh my god, this sticker is scary. Do you think if you did a Pyropop inflatable tube, it'd be too much like Lily? I don't want any small Lola drama. Lol. And Nano says, I think it's a bit too close from the current drama. And Red says, true, that's what I was thinking. Although this wouldn't debut until August, but still in terms of new toggles, that's the only idea we could think of. And Nano says we could do it like that gacha game. We left out a Pyropop floaty toggle from Cinder's bikini model to not copy Lily's, which had debuted earlier this year. Okay, I feel like we don't need to know every single good thing you've ever done in your life. Like, I feel like he's about to paste like a screenshot of him helping a grandma like cross the street. And we've also done this, and we also haven't done this. We could have done this, but we didn't. My own messages with Nano where I helped her with an audio question. I was always willing to help Nano or any of my friends when I was asked for advice or help. Cinder, can I ask you, do you use for mic and audio in general? I struggle with audio so much, of course. I have a Shure SM7B mic and a Wave XLR interface for it, and some filters to make it sound better live. And I get rid of background noise. Thank you. We'll check those. Always happy to help. Cinder's Cook for saying that she'd take him back if nothing else. Well, actually, she announced today that he won't be working with her in terms of management anymore, so she's gonna get a management team instead. Nano told Red that she may be looking to focus on more projects with me because she was getting fewer commissions and I would be taking less too. And would be taking less too. We were her most loyal and repetitious client. See if you can find you. I'm trying to find. You got it. This is a tweet to a Cinder figurine. Sheep! It's my design, mom. Redacted says daughter, lol, UDA, mom. Oh, you da mom. I'm like, mom, I'm on TV. Oh, lol. Yes, I want one. Soon. There's also something else we're doing with this, but I can't tell you yet. Nanoless, y'all just keep cooking. Also, I'm getting less comms. I was thinking maybe stay more on Cinder work. He says, let's fucking go. I told you like a year ago, we'll keep giving you work if you want it. I know, but you were for real. I'm like, preparing myself to give full-time love to 3.0. No more nano comms or just taking on less so you can do more streaming. Taking less, I would never say no for a good offer. Redacted says, okay, just let me know what you're able to take on and when. The Heaven Hound outfit and are the only thing we have scheduled. But we can give you general art, not safe for work art, merch art, gamer subs art, more model designs and outfits if you want them. She's like, yeah, just let me know whatever you guys want me. You know, I always get a way to work on it. He says, yeah, Heaven Hound next, please, Mother Nano. And art to go with it for a starting screen only if you have time. She says, yeah, when is this for again? On 7/1/2024, so like what, July 1st, 2024, Nano delivered a project to Red, and a collab with her comes up again. Nanoless says, thank you. She says, no, thank you. You make the prettiest art. Thank you for continuing to work with us. I thank you and Cinder for keeping me. We gotta work on big things. She says, I'm excited. And when are you and Cinder collabing? I'm getting back to streaming. Hopefully, I'll be ready soon. While at Anime Expo, Red and I made sure we were there to see Nano at her very first ever meet and greet. Thank you for stopping by. Sorry I said your name. It's okay, don't worry. I hope you had fun meeting everyone. It was fun, and it was a fun experience for sure. Now, on July 23rd, 2024, one of my friends messaged me asking about working with Nano. I've never dissuaded anyone from working with Nano or said anything bad about her. Angel, will you be coming to redacted words? Also, I wanted to ask you about how you like having Nano as a mama. I was considering applying for their comms since they rigged a lot of models I loved. I sure am. And Nano is absolutely fantastic to work with. She does the Life 2D art, not rigging, but every model of mine, minus Chibi's, were drawn by her. Red asked Nano if she knew when Bao's model was going to debut, so we could plan our schedule around it like we've done in the past with other people she's worked with. It was the end of July and he thought her model was already finished. The last time Nano had mentioned it to him was in November. And she told him she planned to have it done in June. We saw the design at WebCon in March when Bao showed us. This was something I believe that Bao had put in her document, right? And he thought the model was already finished because the last time Nano had mentioned it to him was in November. Got it. Nano sends her the PSD doc. Red says, thank you, Nano. I'll let you know if she asks for anything else. Oh, I wanted to ask you if you knew around when Bao was planning to debut her model from you. Nano says she planned for Valentine's. Red says, thanks. I just want to check on your schedule for the Angel model. Maybe Angel starting screen art and 3.0 model. She says, do you have any ideas for the 3.0 release date? And Red says, at the earliest April of next year, but probably May, June. Angel will be late November or December this year. Nano says dates are good then. He says, do you know when you're starting the Angel art? Oh, the art? Probably right after the model is done. Oh, no, I meant model, like the art for the model. Angel Sinder is booked for start on October. He says, thumbs up. Anything cool you're working on lately? There we go. She says, redacted name, flavor art, and a model starting this week. He says, you're doing redacted VTuber model? She says, no, model not for redacted name. Cinder's Angel model was booked for October. I was also excited for what I thought was a model she was making for someone else. No, model not for redacted name. Oh, Nano, could you give me an updated GFDs with all the fixes you've done? It's no rush. Nano says, okay, I might not take any comms from that form. I feel like I want to be more into VTubing. No one cool applied, he asked. But yeah, I think you should do this, especially in Brazil, where there isn't a big market. Always here to help with advice. Nano says, I got a few cool ones, but I guess I want to move on with my own brand. But I'll work with Sinder until she dumps me. Do you have any tips on popping the bubble? Nano told me she didn't want to take anyone from her public commission form so she can do more streaming herself, saying she wanted to move on with her own brand and work with Sinder until we chose not to anymore. I encouraged her and offered her my help. And then he replies to her sentence saying, but I'll work with Sinder until she dumps me. And then he says, yeah, actually, I wanted to talk to you about that. So she's like, am I fired? And then Red responds, nah, I'm just kidding. She says, don't play with my emotion. And he says, not yet. And then they exchange some gifts. And then, oh my god, he's so snoopy. So he's replying to Nanoless saying that she got a few cool names when she put up that form. And then he says, anyone you can share? With the eye emoji. And Redacted says, also, what do you mean? Lol, he's responding to her asking for streaming tips. Nano says, the ones I'm interested in are redacted names, but I'll think a little better about it. And then she responds to Redacted about the streaming tip, like what would make a small community get people's eyes. And then Red says, oh, nice, honestly. He's responded about the names she give. And then he says, I'm surprised there wasn't bigger names that applied. Okay. It reminds me, like, it's like when a girl, like, asks other girls if they find that this guy is cute, like the guy that they're flirting with is cute, and the other girls are like, nah, because they don't want them to hook up. That's just a vibe I'm getting. I can't know for sure. Like, you mean what it takes for a small VTuber to get lots of eyes on them? That's kind of my specialty. I did that. She says, yeah, pretty much. I got friends that are studying the VR market and planning things for a far future, maybe. Well, the advantage you have is that you have a brand. You have a well-known art style, and you have lots of kids to promote you, and you don't even have a small following. The challenge is that I can't really speak on the Brazilian market since I'm completely outside of that demographic, but a good VTuber debut and advertising plan should work regardless of location. That's for sure. Advertising is really huge. What I can say is that as long as you're still drawing for Sinder, I don't mind helping you with advice and plans and stuff. But if she's not drawing for Sinder, he won't. Mio messaged me asking for some guidance and said he wants to help you out more too if he can. So cute. She says cute. And then she's like, okay, deal. But like I said, I'll work with Sinder until she dumps me. And then he quotes her saying, until she dumps me, you'll be working forever. Ha ha ha. And then she says, me on my 80-year-old doing the 40th model. And then Redacted says, nah, it'd probably be like the 150th model by then. Nanoless says, I'm doomed. I love it. Honestly, I would cancel my next models if I didn't feel already so committed to them. And then crying emoji. And he says, how many models do you have in the work? She says, I got 3. There are people I'm interested, so I don't want to cancel with them. But I just gotta recover from the cold and get shit done. It's one of those, the Angel model, lol. And then Nano responds, no, but don't worry, it's all very well calculated. By the way, Angel model will be a skin on 2.0. He says, yes, the last 2.0 outfit, then we can do 3.0, which will hit harder if you're having less babies. Red, stop it, stop. How many new models have you done that haven't debuted yet? Yeah, it's true. It's kind of like a pattern. Find out who she's working with and then, you know, start with his inception work. Nano brings out the idea of canceling models first after expressing she wanted to do her own thing and that she honestly would if she didn't feel committed to them. Yeah, but then she said that she really wanted to take them. I feel like she's just like, it's kind of like when somebody's complaining, oh, I got way too much work. You know, I got way too much work. But she still wants to do them, obviously, because they're good opportunities. And they're probably a shit ton of money. Hi, Meow Meow. Nanoless here says, oh, there's like 4 models, I think. Redacted seems to debut around October. I have no idea for the other ones. He says, is that Bao too? She says, I didn't start Bao yet. So 4 models that haven't debuted and 3 you still need to do. Not included redacted name. She says, yeah. And then I think he has a reaction image, but we can't see it. And then she says, I swear these are my last models for a while. And then redacted says, okay, we'll find a new mama. And I was like, I'll KMS in front of Sinder. Then Red adds, I asked about Bao being one of the finished models that hadn't debuted yet because I was under the impression Bao was already done. Nano told me her model wasn't even started. Me saying to her that we'll find a new mama for being busy was a joke, like earlier in the conversation when I joked about firing her. Yeah, another half joke. I think for me, okay, whatever, I'll find a new mama. I think he's like, you know, he says it's a joke, but he's a little bit trying to scare her or keep her on her toes. More like keep her on her toes, like keep her wondering, because she seems like she really comes off as more of somebody that's afraid to displease him. And I don't want to say that in a mean way, but she doesn't have like much spine. And then, but what worries me is more about this exchange is he's just listing off the models that she needs to do. Oh, so you got 4 models that haven't debuted and 3 you still need to do, not including this. Like she thought it was less, but he's putting together almost a list of the stuff that she needs to do. As if to show her, oh, that's a lot. And then she's like, yeah, people sweat. Like, oh my God, it is a lot. And then he does this reaction that we can't really see, but I assume it's like I don't know, some kind of blank stare or something. And then she's like, but I swear these are my last models for a while. I swear. Like, I don't know. I can feel the pressure coming through these texts, and these are just texts. Yeah, Redacted acts like he's her manager. That's so true. Redacted is acting also like Nano's manager. That's crazy that multiple people in chat said that at the same time. But yeah, she does a shit job of keeping her comms confidential. I'll have to agree with that. I asked about... Okay, this is Red's comments. I asked about Bao being one of the finished model that hadn't debuted yet because I was under the impression Bao was already done. Nano told me her model wasn't even started. Me saying that to her, that we'll find a new mama for being busy, was a joke. Like earlier in the conversation when I joked about fire. Okay, I already read that. My bad. Editor, remove that part. They exchange a few emotes. Then Redacted says, do you have like a time frame that you want to start doing your own thing, or just as soon as you don't have model work? And what do you want to do on stream? She says, I think it would be as soon as I don't have the model work, but it would take quite the time. Actually, I was thinking of doing a proper debut for the model. Just tell chat to pretend they never saw the model before. Red says, crying Cinder emote, or is that an Omega lol? I can't tell. You could just not use the model for a long time, then come back and pretend it's new. Then after the reveal, you can be like, this is the same model. And then Nano says, do you think Bao would kill me if I cancel with her? Red says no, but she'd guilt trip you 100%. But if that's best for you, then I think you should. And she says, I'm very guiltable. And Red, you know, gives her a hug emoji. I mean, the sooner you don't have model work, you can work on your own debut and stream stuff. And Cinder and I can help you out. So I'm not telling you to cancel her model, but it sounds like that'd be the best for what you want to do. Yo, this is so fucking flagrant. Okay, I didn't understand while reading this. Well, he kept bringing up the Bao thing because I was like, oh, he didn't do anything wrong about Bao. But now I understand how this all comes in together to kind of manipulate her. Like the comments about her the comments about him trying to figure out if she started on the Bao model, and then listing off, oh my God, you got all this work to do. Sheesh, man, that's a lot. Is that really the best thing you want to do for yourself? I thought you wanted to have a career. I thought you wanted to be a VTuber. Like, and me and Cinder would help you. So the sooner you get rid of these models, then the sooner you can start working on what's best for you. Like, he feels like her manager. Like, what is he her life coach? It's so odd. And then she's like, yeah, I'm thinking about it. This is like pitiful. and then Red is like, is Bao the last of the 3 you still have to do? And Nano is like, yep, got censored name 2, which I'm considering cancel too. The other one I can't cancel because I set it to start right now, but I think I'll keep her. And then he's like, settled to start right now? Oh, you mean start the model now? She says, yes. Was it supposed to be further in the future and I wanted it sooner? And Red says, out of nowhere, Nano asked me, do you think Bao would kill me if I cancel with her? Yeah, and he responds, she would 100% guilt trip you. It's like, damn, that's a kind of a rough thing to say about a friend. She was already considering canceling on her own. This was a huge difference from how she felt about Bao's model last November, when Nanoless was like, oh yeah, I really want to work with Bao. Now I really want to see the Bao segment and see if Red also shit talk Bao to Nanoless, or if Nano's opinion of Bao is like completely clean at this point or not. I told Nano I thought she would do what is best for her, that less model work meant she could do what she wanted to sooner, and we'd help her with streaming. From my own experience with Bao, I thought she could be whiny and pushy when things didn't go her way. The whiny part, I could see that happening. Sorry, but I gotta criticize her too. Like, so I thought she'd complain and guilt trip Nano. Oh wait, he's talking about Bao. Wait, he's talking about Bao? I thought he was talking about Nano. Okay, and Nano just caught strays there from me for no reason. My bad. From my own experience with Bao, I thought she could be whiny and pushy when things didn't go her way, so I thought she'd complain and guilt trip Nano. That is... okay. I was being honest with my friend about another friend. I never asked her to cancel Bao's model, or any other model. Okay. Nano told me she was already thinking about it, plus canceling another VTubers model, so this wasn't just about Bao. Nano could have said anyone's model and still would have said the same thing if that's what she thought was best for her, and her doing so agreed with how I thought about more Nano models. She told me Bao's model hadn't even been started either, and I assumed all that was done. Must have been the design. Okay, I understand why he's also pushing for, like, I thought the Bao model was done. I already thought it was done, so I'm not the one manipulating her here. I thought it was already done. Like, did I mention to you guys that I thought the Bao model was already done? I've already said it 4 times. He continues and says, I was closer to Nano than I was to Bao, so I was for supporting Nano with what she wanted to do, over telling her to keep any project she was already considering canceling. None of this context was shown in Nano's or Bao's document. Yeah, but it's very convenient for you, Red, that also she's considering canceling those projects. Was it supposed to be further in the future and they wanted it sooner? Red said. And Nano's like, no. I see. Well, the Angel model and art is the last big project we're doing for this year, so right after we can help you out with getting you started before we do anything 3.0. I can help you and Mio with tech and OBS stuff too. She says, thank you, I'll be a better mom to Sinder, I swear. Red says, Nano, you're fine. The only other person we consider a model from is Redacted, and he's swamped with everyone in the world wanting his work, so you're stuck with us. You and Redacted VTuber name. If you're eventually not as busy, or I think this is an artist, you and Redacted artist. If you're eventually not as busy between Cinder model and outfits, we'd love to just pay you for that art that you can do on stream, if that's something you want to stream. And here, from July to August, Cinder writes, Nano was involved in drama with a Live 2D rigger. Oh, that's gotta be Kevin, right? I thought it was important to bring up how Nano reacted and responded to the situation. Nano made a public call-out post about this Live 2D rigger she's worked with in the past after seeing someone else's post about them. With a $5 donation, thank you! I will say this document did pay Nano as a pretty and professional, but I think that's a general issue for online artists. Red, however, is manipulative. Yeah, I agree, and I think we often have these discussions about artists, and also it's true that in the way that I didn't really like the way she made that cut post on Kevin here, and how it kind of, put some pressure on Iron Mouse and all of that. Like, I didn't like how that whole debacle went down. Anyway, Nano made a public call-out post about this Live 2D rigger, and this is her post saying, I fucking hate this, because this should be the original chest, and he modified it without my knowledge. I clearly state that I offer free fixing for the rigger until model is done and good. And she's curating a post saying necklace template needs some work. Nano admitted she never communicated with the person she publicly called out. There were no communication between me and Kevin, but surely this is not a minor visual difference. Nano said she could stand up to clients and refuse to work with them if they were having their model rigged by this person. She says, yeah, I learned to stand up and tell clients that I won't work with them if it's rigor X. It's kind of douchey, but I feel like it's needed. Here, Red's DM with Nano the day this happened. He talked to Nano about 2 new models she made and showed her support over this drama. Nano had no problems with gossiping with Red. Red says, I'm guessing, censored name debuting her Nano model soon. And then Nano says, oh, did she announce something? And Red says, no, but censored name is working on art of her in that outfit on stream. And looks like it could be a mousepad like she did for censored name. So next couple months maybe, if not sooner. Ah, yes, true. I've been waiting for so long. I just thought she hated it. Does he just have like 7 monitors with like all of the artists that like do VTuber models live streaming their content, like checking who's working on what, who's working with who? Red says, is that one of the last few debuts you're waiting on? Lol. And Nano's like, crying emoji. No, no one can hit a Nanoless original because Nano previously said, oh, I thought she hated it. Yep, I might now someone. What is this sentence? I might know someone now. And then Red says, what? No. Red sends her a tweet from her. I don't know. No, it's not from her. It's a tweet talking about the situation, but I don't know from who. Nano says, I don't even know what the fuck he wants from me at this point. Maybe it's a Kevin tweet. He says, I wouldn't care, leave it be. He probably wants you to publicly forgive him so his image stops burning. Clown emoji. Yes, his small p ego is too hurt. Oh, there we go. We got the pee word again. Red says it shouldn't be conning people out of money for a reskinned rig. And she's like, oh, I'm so tired of him in so many ways. But yeah, I made the message. I wanted to share it to people. I don't care about anything else. He says, hell yeah, Nano Streamer Arc. Oh my god, this was just now. Somebody retweeted her post saying, thank you for giving my art life again. It's looking so good. He's so desperate. If I burn down as artist right now, I guess I'll just go for stream. Good idea, he says. Yeah, he's stupid. Savage, Red responds. Well, I just want to apologize in case this dirts my name and consequentially cinders. Red says, it won't. Trust me. Thank you, Red, for the mental support. And then he says, I got your back. And then she responds to the tweet he sent her saying he deleted that. What the fuck? Red says, wow, must be getting backlash. When someone calls you out for your BS, you don't deserve an apology, no matter how much you whine about it on Twitter, lol. Then she responds, I'm kind of scared, but I think I did the right thing. Red says, you did. Someone with influence has to say something like he was doing this for years. And yeah, are you working on a new censored name model with censored... Dude, he snooped so much. Yeah, I'm done on my side. And now it's all on another censored name. This rigging looks really nice so far. I saved a clip for reference for censored name. Nice. Not gonna lie, I keep thinking about Sinder 3.0 all the time. I'm so hyped. Red says, some of my messages here age really well. That's so funny because I was thinking that too. Okay, that's funny, Red. I like this. We needed more of these kind of Red comments because I respect this one. That's a funny one. He's referring to when someone calls you out for your BS, you don't deserve an apology no matter how much you whine about it on Twitter. XD. As stated in this now deleted tweet, Nano removed herself from direct conversation and used emotional language to attack and rally rather than actually caring about fixing the problem. I fucking hate this. Nanoless removed herself from tag and direct conversation and used emotional language to attack and rally rather than actually caring about fixing the art that I've provided instruction for 7 months, but the focus seems to have shifted away from. Red asked Nano if she decided to cancel any model projects like they had talked about before he did not name anymore. So here, like what I noticed is that he'll do this. I mean, he's like, oh, she's gossiping with me, but she didn't say much in regard to the Kevin drama. It was more him like, he's like, oh, he's conning money out of the reskin, yada yada. He's sending her the stuff that people are saying about her. He's sending her Kevin's responses. And she's just like, oh, if I burn down stars, I'll go for a stream. I hope this doesn't make you guys look bad. But yeah, his small PP ego is too hurt. I guess this count as, kind of gossip. But she didn't really add more that wasn't public information already. And then he's like, oh, I'm showing you support. And then he's like, by the way, who are you working on with this and this? Did you hear about this person working with this other artist? He's very calculated. Red asked Nano if she decided to cancel any model project like they had talked about before. He did not name anyone. Yeah, Red did not. Guys, Red never asked Nano directly to cancel any model projects. She did that part on her own. She came to that conclusion on her own. All they did was like vaguely discuss it once or twice. And then he's like, so did you cancel? So did you cancel? By the way, did you end up canceling on that? It's like, come on. Hey, Nano, do you know if you're able to start the Heaven Hound outfit earlier or not? Also just wondering if you decided to cancel on any other model projects. Nano responds, yeah, I checked with the other clients and I can't delay them. Didn't cancel anything yet. Actually, give me another moment. Redacted, censored names. Need some more things for the summer model. She said she added annotation to the PSD for you. Cinder also wanted me to ask you if you have time to add a new dance animation to the summer model. We asked censored name too and we were waiting to see what she says. We'll do. What kind of dancing, she asked. Red adds here as his comment, the reason why I followed up and asked Nano if she had cancelled anything was because it could possibly affect our project schedule with her. Well, yes. That's the entire point of you wanting to... you wanted her to cancel models. From the very start, that's why. So she could dedicate more time to your projects. Nano said she didn't cancel anything yet. And he has the yet in bold here. She did not tell me she decided not to cancel anything at all. Then she told me to give her a moment about it. She told me previously there were at least 2 models she was considering canceling. There were unrelated messages about my own project they were talking about between these screenshots. Oh dang, Cinder, can make some crazy mesh up with that. Sure, I'll do a summer first right now, then the other arms. Red responds, yeah, and she did say, there's edits for you listed in the PSD. Thank you, Nano, love you. Yep, no problem. Did you check on this yet? Oh my god, dude, Red. Come on. Okay, they should have asked me to make the Google Doc for them, and it would have been, I swear to God, it would have been like 10% of this entire doc. Never mind, 10% is 100 pages. It would have been 1% of this entire doc, and it would have been so much stronger, because why would you ever put this in? So here, he replies to her saying, give me another moment, and he's like, did you check on this yet? Like, he's like, oh my god, is she gonna cancel? Is she gonna cancel? Like, he's practically you're practically foaming at the mouth, bro. Nano's like, they are replying right now. Just give me another moment. By the way, meanwhile, could you give me a full list of angel model? Red says, I bumped Nano again about 6 hours later and she said someone was replying to her now. She says, yeah, I can ASAP. Nano responds with a people emoji. It's not you, Nano. I'm just between like 20 projects and IRL things right now. I'll give you a list when I talk to Cinder. Let me go do that for you. Nano says, it's okay. I know y'all just live in a rush. Red says, did you cancel models? 3rd time now he's asked. Nano says, I did not. I did not. It says, another 20 minutes later when I said to Nano, did you cancel models again? It was in all caps because of the previous message sent and the fact I still hadn't heard anything from her about it. She said she didn't, and I said her arc of doing what she wanted to do would be delayed far into the future. Joking with her like I always had. Yes, another half joke. Another half joke. And the fact that I didn't even notice that he said that. Nano arc delayed to 2026. So again, he's pushing onto her the notion that, oh, you're not focusing on yourself right now. You're not really focusing on your brand. You're taking all these other projects. Isn't she making like 10K from these models? Of course she wants to take these projects. Lol, Cass. He wanted her to cancel. He didn't expect he was the one getting cancelled. So after Redacted says, Nano arc delayed to 2026. Then Nano responds, I'm scared to cancel with Bao. And then he says, you shouldn't be. She has so many connections. She'll find someone super fast. Did you already design her outfit? I remember her showing it to us at WeebCon. Nano says, yeah, I can give her the design for free as an apology gift. Don't sell yourself short, Redacted responds. I think she'd be fine with taking the design and finding someone else. I wouldn't offer it for free. Maybe half price. If she starts shit, lol. Yeah, you're right. I'll talk to her today. We'll also close the model inquiry today, opening that was a mistake. Yeah, I just closed it, not say anything about it besides thanks for applying or something. Like, don't announce, yeah, no one's getting picked, I changed my mind. Because people will get mad. Here Red says, Nano brought up Bao again saying she's scared to cancel with her. She didn't say she chose not to cancel any of her projects or that she didn't want to cancel with Bao anymore, only that she was scared to do it. Which explained why she hadn't cancelled anything yet. I was not the one to bring up Bao again, and I didn't specify anyone we had previously talked about. I reassured Nano about it and told her I thought she should be at least somewhat paid for the design she made and the work she put into it. My thought that Bao could possibly start shit over this was the same as I said before, where I thought she'd complain or guilt trip Nano over it. Nano agreed with me, then said she regretted opening her other model application in the first place. All of the lead up to this conversation was left out of Nano's and Bao's document. But I don't see how the lead up to the conversation is helping. It's like him asking repeatedly if she's cancelled yet. Okay, I'm concerned about Red here. Like, I'm concerned about Red and Sinder, that they think this is like a really good defense, that they think these screenshots make them look good. Like, they believe that this behavior is normal. It's not normal. It's anything but normal. And I know people are like, oh, it's always like this with content creators. It's always like this in VTuber communities. I don't think so. I really don't think so. I haven't met anybody like that. I've never met anybody like that. Maybe I just haven't met any big enough VTubers yet, but I'd be shocked if somebody at Hololive was acting this way behind the scenes too. And yes, and even if it was like that, it shouldn't. True, it feels like a company auditions. It feels like, she means it feels like Vishojo's audition. I see the little joke here. Or just close the form and never say anything about it again. That'll work too. Just engagement bait, she says. I might just close silently. I mean, it was also stupid for her to open up the form when clearly she's like overwhelmed with everything. Redactor says, yes, okay, I can start Cinders right now. And he's like, huh? So I'll ask you to rush the list if possible. But the summer and dance stuff first. What did you do though? She says, I just asked my current model timeline and safe to delay it a bit. He says, okay, we'll get you a list in the server ASAP. Maybe they've not been around real people for too long, so they've lost all perspective and self-awareness, like high school. You know what? You know, maybe we need like a social media to all like crash for an entire year so everybody snaps back to reality. That's what we need. We need a total social media shutdown. I know this is my job and I'm still in for it. I'll be totally fine with it. I'll take the hit. I'm ready to tank it. And it's crazy that's like, and look what she immediately starts to work on after she's canceling the projects, Cinder's models. This doesn't look good. This really doesn't look good. 45 minutes after, Nano said she was able to start on Cinder's Angel model right away, when earlier she said she wasn't able to and had planned to start in October. Wow, well, you look at that. And Sinder says this was all Red told me in our DMs right after he talked to Nano. Nano was able to start the Angel model right after the summer fixes and dance. She says yes. Yeah, 2 months earlier. After canceling Bao's model, that he's asked her 3 times. That he's asked her 3 times if she was going to cancel it. Oh, but my bad, guys. The last time he was half joking, because it wasn't caps. Later that night, Red told me Nano was going to cancel Bao's model because she wanted to stream more and focus on her own VTuber career. He said we would help her out, and that Nano was able to start on my Heavenhound model early on. I felt bad for Bao, because I saw how excited she was about the design she showed us in person. But I was under the impression that this was what Nano wanted. She was my friend too, and I wasn't going to pressure her to do something she didn't want to do. I didn't see Red's messages, and only knew what he told me. Red says if I really wanted Nano to cancel Bao's model for some malicious reason, and knew I could make her do it through some kind of manipulation, why would I have waited 8 months after I first found out about it in November of 2023 and told Nano she shouldn't? Why did I wait 4 months after WebCon in March 2024 when Bao showed it to us? Why, when I thought Bao's model was already finished in June, like she told me it was okay, because, okay, you know what? This is where me reading comes into play, because people like this, they don't plan things. I read a study recently about that, but it's like people like this, they don't plan everything in advance. Like Red doesn't wake up in the morning and is like, I'm gonna try to make Nanoless cancel Bao's model. It's more like he's an opportunistic person, and whenever his disposition is geared towards that, when he feels like he can get an edge, when he feels like he can snatch on to an opportunity, he'll take it. It feels like this is kind of his default state. Why, when I thought Bao's model was already finished in June, like she told me it was planned for, I feel like, you know, it's like, oh, she's hesitating about Bao's model. All right, I'm gonna try to, and then he becomes pushy. It's not like he planned this in advance. And the fact that it wasn't premeditated doesn't take away from the fact that, again, I feel like he's kind of manipulating her. He'd have to be really five-head for that. Although I was closer with Nano, Bao was still a friend, and I didn't have any problems with her back then. My opinion of how she could respond to Nano canceling on her doesn't change that. Nano has worked with multiple friends of ours in the past and it wasn't a problem, including Bao in this situation. I was supporting what Nano expressed to me she wanted to do for herself, and as her friend, I reassured her it would be okay. This wasn't for Nano to have more time for us instead of anything she had planned. The only project we had upcoming with Nano at this time was Sinder's Angel model and Star and Screen Arc, which we were content with being started in October. Like Nano told me before. It was only after all of this that Nano told me she could start it earlier, which affected our project timeline. That's why I asked if she decided to cancel anything, but I didn't expect her to move our project up. Anyway, hey Nano, he says, checking on the arm stuff. Also, I told Sinder to just take PNGs to match a redacted ref sheet with each model, and if you want more expressions or toggles or pose or something, just let me know. How did talking to Bao go? She says, I'm finishing arms right now. She says, I will talk to Bao right now. She replied to my iPost, I got a bit, I'll wait a bit. I don't know if she will hate me forever after this. So he basically just asked her again if she cancelled yet. This is the fourth one. This is the fourth have you cancelled yet? I put them as headers because it's easier to find after when I'm just scrolling. And she says also, thank you. Red says, she won't hate you forever, just for the next few days. Damn. What a good... Red says he's friends with Bao there? Sheesh, man. I'm afraid to know what he does to the people he calls his enemies. Because this is how you treat your friends. Jesus fucking Christ, man. But if she still has the designs, I don't think it's a big deal. And Red says, Nano said she was scared to talk to Bao, so being her friend, I asked how it went. If Bao's design was done and the model wasn't even started, like Nano told me it wasn't, and I didn't think it was a problem if Bao could just take the design to another model artist. Hypothetically, I thought there still would have been time to hit her planned Valentine's debut window Nano told me about. And then Nano's like, okay, I sent it. And he's like, I'm here for emotional support. Thank you, it hurts my soul. Fred says the whole situation was wrong of both of us. Nano shouldn't have asked me about what she wanted to do with her other commissions, and I shouldn't have waited in on what I thought. I'm sorry to Bao for my actions and that this happened at all. Okay, you know what? I can respect this, and I can respect him trying to say sorry here and own up for his mistakes. Obviously, there needs to be a change in behavior, and that needs to be reflected in his actions moving forward. It was after this when Bao messaged our group chat with our friends saying that Nano dropped her as a client. I felt guilty knowing about this before Bao had told us. I didn't know what to say, so I didn't say anything. I was the one who was known to always work with Nano, but if this was her decision, I didn't want to get involved. I should have been a better friend to Bao and at least tried doing something for her, but I didn't. And that's Bao saying, Smoj, Nano had to drop me as a client because her work schedule is too hectic. Aww, I feel bad for Bao. That is heartbreaking, especially since I feel bad for Bao for this entire situation because I think I just saw a post of her on Twitter not too long ago where she was saying that like everybody's moved on from the situation. This was before this doc drop, but I'm still stuck there. Like I'm still hurt and I'm still trying to process things. And it just didn't look like she was feeling good at all. And this is probably... After I posted my apology on 4/27/2025, Bao tweeted this, talking about her model being cancelled last August, asking how I didn't know about it. It was a standalone tweet, not as a reply to my apology, and not quoting it either. How? How can you say you didn't know? I showed you both my base model sketch from Nano at WeebCon. We talked on stage and performed together. You were in the group chat where I shared my sadness over Nano suddenly cancelling my model after we were so close to begin Live 2D and rigging, and to now found out... Rima, talk! And to now find out that just the day before I shared my sadness, this is the conversation that happened that ruined months of debut prep, planning, merch prep. And if you want to apologize to me, please do it properly and stop hiding behind red. And this is like what snippets of, oh, don't feel bad about canceling. She has so many connections. It'll be super fast. and, you know, don't give her a discount, I think. I was aware that in this instance, Bao's model was cancelled, and before she said anything. I haven't claimed otherwise anywhere, and I didn't say anything about it in my apology. I was not aware of Red giving Bao's name to Nano in his exclusivity negotiations in January 2025. This is what I said. Regarding the exclusivity deal made between them, I had no part in the direct negotiations of their eventual agreement. I had no knowledge of Bao and Cotton being included in this list. If I had known my friends were included, I would have said something to put a stop to it. After Bao posted, I messaged the one friend I could get a message to her since she has already unfriended me and no way to contact her. Red and I had a falling out the night the documents dropped, and we didn't live together anymore either, so I had no way to access his DM myself to go back and see everything he was saying and doing to make sure it was alright. All I had to go off was what Red told me in August about this, what was posted in Nano and Bao's document, and now Bao's tweet after my apology. I don't know if she ever got this message and she never reached out to talk. I told this friend that I didn't know how the model was cancelled because of Red's conversation with Nano, and not that I didn't know it was cancelled at all. So Sinder here writes to her friend and she says, I just saw Bao's tweet. I have no way of contacting her, so if you could please have her reach out for us to talk, it would mean a lot. I didn't know her model was cancelled due to Red's conversation with Nano. I know it's hard to believe I wasn't informed on every conversation he was having, but he had a lot of control over comms without constant approval because I trusted him. We don't live together for me to make sure everything he was doing was right. I'm so sorry to you and all the girls. Let me ask her if it's alright for me to pass a message forward, and if so, I'll copy paste this directly. Is that alright? This is the same friend I messaged before about Red and I. I'm so sorry, I'm trying to collect myself. Red and I aren't speaking right now and I'm so upset with everything. In Bao's tweet, she said that before her model was cancelled in August of 2024, they were so close to begin live 2D and rigging. And in Nano's document, it said that Red asked me to cancel on one of their closest friend Bao by asking me to cancel my work mid-progress, followed by saying Red contacted me specifically to check on me cancelling the model I had planned with Bao, neither of which were actually shown or true. True, she didn't show that, but you ended up showing it, so you kind of just helped her. Red asked me to... You kind of just ended up showing how you asked 4 times. Didn't she say they used to live together? They lived together until February 2025. Yes, but this happened in April. And the Bao discussion... Oh, when the Bao discussion happened, she was living with him. So maybe she did know about it back then. But here in that message, I think she's saying that I have no way of checking his DMs like right now because he's not with me. What did she say in her apology again? Regarding the exclusivity deal made between them, I had no part in the direct negotiation of their eventual agreement. I had no knowledge of Bao and Cotton being included in this list. If I had known my friends were included, I would have said something to put a stop to it. There's no way for me to, you know, prove that she's lying here, that she had no knowledge or not. But they were living together when the Bao negotiations happened. To phrase it better, they were living together when Nanoless canceled the Bao model. I don't think like Nano is a perfect victim. And I think probably a lot of people have a hard time sympathizing with her because she's like making mad money. And I understand it because sometimes I'm like, yeah, I also feel like I have a hard time sympathizing with her when she's just like making bankrolls. But then I ask myself, you know, why do we feel that way about this? Well, it's probably because we're like kind of insecure about our own financial situation compared to her. And it's like, should our resentment come into play into our final judgment of this situation? And when I rationalize this, I'm like, no, of course not. These are personal feelings and they should be pushed aside because they're kind of like wrong. Like, it's human to have these feelings towards somebody, but it's another thing entirely to act on it. And at the end of the day, it's kind of what this entire drama is about. They had resentments, they had jealousy, and they decided to act on it. We were here, right? In Nano's document, it said that Red asked me to cancel on one of their closest friend Bao by asking me to cancel my work mid-progress. I followed by saying Red contacted me specifically to check on me canceling the model I had planned with Bao, neither of which were actually shown or true. Red asked me to cancel on one of their closest friends Bao by asking me to cancel my work mid-progress, manipulating me into thinking it's okay since she has many connections and she'll be fine anyway, so I wouldn't feel guilty about it or worry too much. It was and is upsetting to me that Red contacted me specifically to check on me canceling the model I had planned with Bao. Okay, so where's the lie though? A little over a week before Bao's model was cancelled, Nano told Red that Bao's model hadn't even been started, and as you've seen, Red never asked Nano to cancel Bao's model. Whoa. Okay, that last sentence, obviously I just refuted. Like, we've seen it 4 times that he asked. Like, he didn't said it. He said, did you talk to her yet? Did you cancel it yet? Did you cancel it yet? The Bao model hadn't even been started in L2D progress, but the design was being made and Nano's doing the design. So the process was started, just maybe not as far as being in mid progress. But does that really? Okay, I feel like this is what a lot of the naysayers will catch upon. And for me, this doesn't change the final argument. They're just like the naysayers will say, is exactly the argument that Red and Sinder are trying to do. They're like, she lied because she said she was going to cancel the work mid-progress. And it wasn't mid-progress. It was the beginning of the progress. Therefore, everything's false. Throw it all out. If there is one single detail that is wrong or that is false, you gotta throw the whole thing out. But I disagree with that, Kitsu, because if you analyze cases of manipulation, there is always an autonomy on the victim side. Like, no one removing the autonomy from Nanoless here. This is what manipulation is. It's about, he's going in, he gets information, and when he feels like he can push, then he does it. And then he does it not once, not 2, not 3. He does it 4 times. He's like, I didn't ask her to cancel the model. He didn't say the specific words, yes. But then he repeatedly added pressure. And then he's like, I'm your friend. I care about you. You said you wanted to work on your brand, didn't you? You said you wanted to become a content creator. Well, you have way too much work right now. And then he starts listing off all the models that she's got to do. You got this, you got that, you've got 4 models plus this. And then right after he says that, that's when she's like, oh, well, should I cancel on this? That's when she starts thinking, well, should I cancel on that? So let me ask you this. If, let's say, you are neutral and you're a blank state, and then after talking to somebody, you are leaning more toward one way or another, isn't that influence? And then she canceled on Bao, and then she immediately bumps up Sinder's model. They got it done 2 months earlier instead. So for me, the initial claims from Nanoless document hasn't been debunked yet. Gaslighting? Check. Manipulation? Check. Spreading rumors behind people's back? There's like that screenshot where Cinders admits to spreading it to 3 different people. And then yes, she blames workload to him, but then when she speaks to... well, this is more about Silver's model. But then when she spoke to Sinder directly, she tells Sinder, yo, what Redacted said here about me, you know, making a lot of model bebe, I'm not very comfortable with that. And so we know that it's about what he told her. And then after that, she wants to take back Silver's model, but then she's like, but I don't want to disrespect Sinder. But seriously, why wouldn't he try to get her to cancel Bao's model the first time around? I already explained that, because the way people like this operate, like people, when they see somebody like this, they're like, oh my god, like he's planned all of this ahead, like he's a mastermind. But it's not like this. It's more like, he's not waking up in the morning and being like, I'm gonna try to sabotage this person. Okay, maybe in the case of Silvervale that might be true, but it's more like he'll meet somebody and he thinks there'll be a good connection in the future, so he's gonna cozy up. Or he's gonna see an opportunity and he's gonna drive it in. He sees an opening, he's gonna go for it. It's more like that. So he saw the opening. First he starts by talking. This is how what he's doing, okay? He starts listing off the stuff that she's got to do. He's like, what's your progress on the Bao model? She's like, oh, well, I haven't started yet. Oh, you haven't started it yet. So you got that on top of all these other models? He's like, that's like, he lists like 5 stuff. And he starts stressing her out. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of work. He has the pressure. I thought you wanted to work on your brand. Then she starts hesitating. She's like, maybe I should cancel on Bao's model, but I'm afraid to do so. And that's when he starts driving it in. Like, he sees the opening and then he goes in. It's not like a carefully, 5D chess plan. it could have been Bao, but it could have been somebody else too. I don't think he really cared who it was. And Bao's tweet, she said that before her model was cancelled in August of 2024, they were so close to begin Live 2D and rigging. We were so close to begin Live 2D and rigging. Okay, oh yeah, this is the mid-progress argument. A little over a week before Bao's model was cancelled, Nano told Red that Bao's model hadn't even been started. We didn't start Bao yet. How could it have been cancelled mid-progress and close to being rigged if it wasn't started? If it was so close to rigging, why would Nano have even considered cancelling it instead of just finishing it? I think Bao would have said if her model was cancelled mid-progress in her messages to me and our friends if it was, instead of just that she was dropped as a client. I think Bao would have said if her model was cancelled mid-progress in her message to me. Okay, we're still on the mid-progress argument. Nano had to drop me as a client because her work schedule is too hectic. In Bao's document, she said there was suddenly back and forth on whether or not Nano had the physical and mental capacity to continue her model. Going to be the Live 2D illustrator. After she finished both the design and base model sketch, there was suddenly back and forth on whether or not she had the physical and mental capacity to continue my model. I was very sad as I had not only teased a screenshot of the model sketch, which lines up with what Nano said to Red and how Nano repeatedly overbooked herself but was never shown anywhere. Okay, I might not take any comms from that form. I feel like I want to be more into VTubing. I'm doomed. I love it. Honestly, I would cancel my next models if I didn't feel already so committed to them. Do you think Bao would kill me if I cancel with her? Yeah, I'm thinking about it. Bao saying that there was back and forth also could imply that Nano already approached her, saying she may not continue her model before August 5th when Red messaged Nano. Also, Red didn't cancel Nano to specifically check on Nano canceling Bao's model like was claimed. He messaged her to see if she decided to cancel any other projects she expressed interest in canceling that Nano previously mentioned. So they're saying that it wasn't targeted on Bao. Another conversation between Red and Nano to show how Nano was treated, trying to plan my collab with her, and Red complimenting art Nano did for someone else. Nano, are you planning on doing a collab with Sinder on your birthday? I don't know, that's Mio's idea. I mean, the thing that I don't like about Nanoless behavior here is that she lied to Bao, and even though her relationship with Fred was kind of toxic, she did end up hurting somebody else because of it. And well, I don't know if she spoke about it with Bao and if they hashed it out, but there is also accountability to be taken on her part. Nano, are you planning on doing a collab with Sinder on your birthday? I don't know, that's Mio's idea. I know, I've been talking to him about it and I want to make sure you know. Is there anything you want to do? And would you be streaming or just be on Sinder's stream? We can plan a different day too. Make it a different day, please. Okay, what day? I don't know. You just don't want to do it. I get mad anxiety. It's okay if you want to just cancel it, we can. You guys can hang out in your bikinis. In your bikini. Oh my god, I forgot to ask. How is censored name Art is coming? She showed us the whip when we saw her a few weeks ago. Yeah, finished the art last week. Let me see. Okay, it's like censored. Good lord, the cooking. Thank you. When is Nano available for some not safe for side project? If it's just illustrations, I can always try to add on to my schedule. Okay, but after Angel, unless you want to make a 10-line Cinder art right now. Lol, everyone likes the 10 lines and we didn't even ask you for that. I hope you guys didn't mind an unsolicited addition, by the way. I just thought 10 lines are great. No, we don't mind. It came out super good and everyone likes it. You can give more suggestions for things we don't mention in the future, of course. By the way, did you guys decide something about the flames on Angel? After over a year of Red and I encouraging Nano to come on my stream, we finally had our first collab together. It was on her birthday by Mio's suggestion to Red. Thank you, Nano. I had so much fun yapping, having a good night. Thank you, it was so much fun. I have a sore throat already. Oh no, get lots of rest. Red, good morning. We were watching some VODs from Sinder. She said she wanted to collab with Nano. Yeah, whenever Nano is ready to. I was actually thinking on making a surprise for Nano, if that would be okay for Sinder. She wouldn't be opposed, but in that past, she hasn't wanted to because she didn't feel comfortable doing that yet. So I don't know if a surprise is the best way to go. She just let me know if she decides to and we can get something set up. She's always able to message me or her too. No problems, we are just getting ready for the event. What event? Oh, the anime friend thingy we are going. Oh yeah, hope that goes well. Okay, what about Nano's birthday? We could do her birthday. She is okay with 2. Do you want to do on her birthday, the 28th, right? Yep. Okay. Emote from Red. And then my DMs with Nano after she was on my stream celebrating another one of her models debuting, and our messages around my birthday. I'm alive and slept for 9 hours. I wanted to thank you again. Talking to you really is easy for some reason. That makes me so happy. Anytime you want to play games or yap, I'll always be free for you. I wanted to show you this. Finally, another bed. Finally. I thought she hated it and just discarded it. Thank you for letting me know. I don't think anyone could ever dislike your work. Cinder, happy birthday. Thank you, Nano. I love you. Sorry I couldn't make anything special for you. No, don't be. I was able to hang out with you earlier and that felt like the best gift ever. Nano told Red she was... Okay, I gotta pick this up, man. Nano told Red she was up to take on more of our work, followed by another instance that shows how Nano was treated. Okay, so with the cafe idea, we're open to it, but we need more details and dates to discuss. My concern is that if it's based around a brand and there's a standard we need to the whole thing held to, and a responsibility to uphold that from whoever is running things. Plus this would be a lot of people first VTuber impression in Brazil. You'd gotta rep the brand the right way. There's not much I can quality control from all the way over here. Also, how would you feel about doing more gamer sub labels and maybe a Daki? Would definitely keep an eye for the quality. You know I'm always up to. I'll tell them you're interested and check for more info. I'll let you know anything I can get. Red says, are you involved with the maid cafe thing or did you just hear about it? And he says, I just don't want this to get in the way of the angel model and angel art. Miu asked me what Cinder uses. You have the Cinder VTuber official mic setup. We don't have a room isolation or anything, much like the opposite, but works really well. I love Elgato products. If you don't have a stream deck, get one. I do. Okay, good. Thank you for the help. You're on Team Cinder, which makes... I'm on Team Nano. That's why I rep your shirt at every con. I'll still cry about... Although I'm not... Yeah, about gamer sub. Do we need art soon? Oh yeah, I would love to make maid Cinder art for the cafe thing if it goes forward. Yeah, just keep me updated on the maid stuff and we'll see it if it ends up going anywhere. Gamer sub isn't super soon. We have time. It's not urgent. We're doing redacted name and AFK. And Cinder and I wanted to ask you first before we gave anyone else the opportunity. Cinder or that name. I love you so much. Also to have a consistent art style on the labels we have for them. Hey, you! Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that bell button. And I'll see you in the next video.